So, we've reached the final campaign in Left 4 Dead 2 finally. Hard Rain is another weird middle ground campaign. People either love it or hate it. For me, it's somewhere in the middle. The backtracking and Thunderstorm is a cool gimmick at first, but the limited movement and visibility can get annoying at times. Hard Rain does come with some annoyances, but overall I think it's a solid campaign. Moving past the introductions, we have a ton of wall graffiti and a ton of dialogue to break down, so without wasting any more time, let's get started. After the events of Swamp Fever, Virgil drops off the survivors in a town, telling them to grab cans of gas so they can continue their trip to New Orleans. After Virgil departs, the survivors have a discussion on how they're going to signal Virgil once they retrieve the gas.
What are we supposed to signal him with?
Oh, there's flares in the gun bag.
What gun bag? Oh, fuck. Tell me we didn't forget the guns.
You didn't grab the gun bag?
Me? Who died and made me gun monitor?
Pretty much everybody.
Great. We are screwed. You want to hear a prediction?
No.
No.
There's not going to be any gas. Watch.
After walking across the street, the survivors arrive at a gas station, and as Nick predicted, there's no gas. Near the road, you can find a sign, presumably placed by CETA, saying, Ducatel Diesel, 2 miles. And sometimes Nick and Coach will have this back and forth.
No gas. See what I say?
All right, quit whining. We just gotta hike to this Ducatel Diesel.
This is a good time to do a quick deep dive into the small town that Hard Rain takes place in. While the exact location of the campaigns are relatively unknown, it's safe to assume that Hard Rain takes place somewhere along the Mississippi River. Not only is it consistent with the location of Swamp Fever, if you take the Mississippi River all the way south, it'll take you right to New Orleans, which is of course the location of the parish and the end goal for the Left 4 Dead 2 survivors. While walking through this town, you'll also notice a name that appears throughout this entire campaign, Ducatel. And upon checking the wiki, it states that Hard Rain takes place in the fictional city of Ducatel, Mississippi. At the start of Chapter 2, you can look up and see a sign that says Ducatel Sugar Mill. When I checked the wiki again, it states that the sugar mill was supposed to be demolished, but by the time the construction crew arrived, the infection was already sweeping through the nation. It should also be noted that the construction worker zombies are the uncommon infected in the Hard Rain campaign. What separates these guys from the other infected is their soundproof headphones, making them immune to pipe bombs. Yeah, nowhere near as cool as the cop zombie or the scavenger, but hey, it's still kinda neat. And at the end of Chapter 2, you find another gas station. This time, it's named Ducatel Diesel. There is a lot of history to this small town that I will do my best to break down, but we have a few things to go over before we move on to Chapter 2. While walking through Chapter 1, you can find piles of orange papers. Trying to read these in-game is almost impossible. It's literally just pixels. But thankfully, these exact same posters can be seen on the right side of the Hard Rain poster. This piece of paper reads exactly as follows. This area is not safe. Evacuation in this area has been suspended indefinitely. You are advised to travel to New Orleans immediately. Do not attempt to communicate with infected individuals. At the bottom of the paper, you can see the CETA logo clear as day. Based on this, we can assume that CETA, during the early stages of the green flu outbreak, at least tried to offer aid to the small town of Ducatel. But due to the rapid spread and overwhelming infected numbers, the town of Ducatel was left to fend for themselves. There is some wall graffiti later on telling us how the survivors tried to hold out in the sugar mill, but considering the sugar mill is the prime location for the witches, it's safe to assume that these survivors were killed, along with most of the other survivors in Ducatel. However, just like with Swamp Fever, we can confirm that some survivors headed to New Orleans, but we'll get to that in due time. For now, let's talk about Chapter 2, where we have some wall graffiti. City's gone to hell. Let's use the sugar mill as a holdout. The place is crawling with witches. Diane took Abel and went to the sugar mill. Ray, Jason, CETA's not coming. We're heading to the gas station and driving out tomorrow. Meet us in New Orleans. After taking a few steps outside the safe room, the survivors find themselves at the entrance of the sugar mill. Hanging on the wall, you can find a sign that says, Stay away, witches. This is a good time to talk about one of the standout features of this campaign. Chapter 2 of Hard Rain is filled to the brim with witches. Sometimes you'll see two witches only a few feet away from each other. The survivors will often chime in with lines like this.
The last time I saw this many crying women was at my wedding.
How many goddamn witches are there?
Maybe the rain's bringing them out.
Witches must really love sugar.
Now with all that in mind, let's start asking the difficult questions. Why are there so many witches at the sugar mill? After doing some digging, the running theory is that the witches are attracted to sugar, which is implied in both the in-game dialogue and the wiki. But there's another fan theory that deserves a mention. Shout out Gatorheads for a very interesting theory on the witches and what exactly attracts them to the sugar mill. The theory states that the damage to the sugar mill wasn't the demolition crew or the storm, but instead a sugar dust explosion that led to the mill getting shut down. The theory states that the explosion likely killed many workers, and the women who were married to these men likely turned into witches and were attracted to the sugar mill, not because of the sugar, but because it's the primary source of their grief. There is also a lot of evidence backing this theory. The characteristics and behavior of the special infected are very hard to pin down accurately, since it's mainly speculation. But since Left 4 Dead 1, witches have shown more humanity than any other infected. They don't go out killing maliciously, only doing it when disturbed or directly provoked. Also, remember the witch from The Passing, dressed like a bride, crying in the dead center of a park staged for a wedding. A very odd location for a witch spawn, unless she was drawn to this location because it's the primary source of her sadness. Point is, this theory has a lot of evidence backing it, and frankly, I like this way better than the alternative. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read the theory for yourselves. It's surprisingly in-depth, and he obviously breaks it down way better than me. But with all that in mind, let's move on to the end of Chapter 2. The crew arrives at Ducatel Diesel, and inside they find 4 cans of gas. Now all they have to do is head all the way back to Virgil's boat. But before we do that, we have some graffiti to break down. Like a metric shit ton of wall graffiti. Not going to read all of them, but I will try to list off the interesting ones. Take what you need, leave some for the rest of us. This gas is for everybody. So is the infection. I take what I want. Jackson, took your sisters to New Orleans. Meet us at Kate's house. Be careful. Dad. Lily, headed south. I'll see you in New Orleans. Love, Noel. Sarah, kids are safe. Headed to New Orleans. I love you. Charlie. Mike was here, going to New Orleans. Based on all this wall graffiti, it's safe to assume that most of the survivors from Ducatel left to New Orleans, and the ones who didn't either died or tried to hold out to the best of their ability. Hard Rain is a very difficult campaign, and this can be attributed to many things. The limited movement and visibility is certainly a factor, but there's another thing that you need to watch out for. Because chapters 3, 4, and 5 take place in a partially flooded city, Molotov cocktails against tanks are completely ineffective. In 4 players, you can work around it, but in versus mode, a tank spawn usually results in a win for the infected team. Not that it really matters, because versus is basically unplayable nowadays, but hey, you get the point. With that in mind, let's finally talk about the finale. Upon seeing the burger tank, Coach will often chime in with a line like this.
I have never been so happy to see a burger tank, and believe me, I have been happy to see some burger tanks.
The survivors decide to use a burger tank sign to signal Virgil. This finale is okay. It's another defend your position segment that doesn't push any boundaries or do anything special. Overall, it's a pretty boring finale, if I'm being honest. After a couple of minutes, Virgil arrives and the survivors officially punch their ticket to New Orleans, and that concludes the story behind Hard Rain. The Left 4 Dead 2 campaigns have been officially completed, and now we can focus on the campaigns from Left 4 Dead 1. Thank you to everybody who voted on the recent poll, and I promise, the story behind No Mercy will be completed as soon as humanly possible. We only have 5 campaigns to go, and we're going to go in chronological order from this video onwards. If I missed anything, be sure to let me know. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.